Hey, it's Mary. I hope you are doing well today, and I hope that you are ready to do some bending and gluing and taping and folding, because we are going to take a simple flat sheet of paper, kind of make a template out of it, and turn it into a three-dimensional object that you can fold and endlessly manipulate, at least until the paper weakens so much and you can't use it anymore. But then you will know how to make them and be able to make it again and again. So what do you say we get started? We are making kaleidocycles, which you might have already guessed. So a kaleidocycle is a three-dimensional object that you can manipulate endlessly, actually. And there are templates for kaleidocycles all over the internet. So if you would like to work from a template, you have a couple options. You can go to your favorite search engine, type in kaleidocycle templates or how to make a kaleidocycle, and you'll get dozens of results with templates that you can print up and use. If you are near the Park Rapids Library, you can stop and pick up, near the door where you normally come in, a kaleidocycle packet, and in the packet there will be plain paper and there will be a template. There'll probably be two templates, a blank template and a pattern template. If you don't have either of those options, you can relax, because the last way we're going to make the kaleidocycle today is by just using a blank piece of paper with no template on it at all. But it's easier to start with the template one for the purposes of what we're doing today, just to get an idea of how it's made, and then we'll move into the one without the template. So if you got one of those packets from the front of the library, you probably got something, like this. So there's make kaleidocycle instructions or directions in case you're not able to see this video. There's blank piece of paper, and there's a kaleidocycle template. So the first thing you're going to do is cut that template out. So other things you might need to complete this project: pair of scissors, some glue, a ruler, and when you take that packet of the kaleidocycle apart, make sure you hang on to the paper clip, because we're actually going to use that to help making the bending and manipulating go easier for us. I'm going to change the angle of the camera while you are cutting out your kaleidocycle template. Make sure that you go around the edge and cut flat along the bottom, up the side, make the little peaks, make that little indent, and we'll be back when you're done with that. So we've talked about this before. I like to lay my materials out in a way that's easiest for me to be able to reach what I need. So things are on the right side that I would use right-handed, things are on the left side that I might be able to use my left hand for. So when I paused you, we had just cut out our kaleidocycle templates, and they should look like that. I decorated mine quite simply, just so you can follow what's going on and see what side we're on. So at this point, we've got the kaleidocycle template cut out and decorated. When we put it together, we want it to fall along certain lines or fold along certain lines. So we're going to use that paper clip to score all of the lines. So the lines going in this direction, lines going in that direction, lines going in that direction. I generally do this by doing all the lines in one direction first, doing the lines in the other direction next, and then following through and doing the lines in the next direction. And I'm doing this on a pad of paper. I'm doing it on the cardboard side of the pad of paper, just to give some cushioning so it's going to go easier. So I'm just taking the flat end, well, the curvy part of the paper clip, and running it along those lines. And as I finish with the lines going in one direction, I'm going to stop and just fold them over to help make them more pliable. So now if you noticed on that one, it didn't actually fold like I wanted it to. So I'm just going to go back and correct that. So while I'm doing this, you can score all of your lines and then fold them back and forth to get that to move easier. So all of the lines in one direction are scored. I'm going to go back through and do this direction. And then I'll do the folding to get that more pliable. And I'll go and do all of them in this direction. And I'll fold those also to make that equally pliable. So when you are done, you're going to have basically what you had before, but it's going to be more pliable. It'll be easier to fold at certain points. So you've got all your patterns, and if we look at it, you'll notice that it looks like diamonds or triangles. So maybe that has something to do with how this Kaleidocycle works. And if you took a peek at the directions beforehand, this might be the part where it was a little confusing. So what we're going to do now is just fold this into a longer cylinder. We're going to take those pointy ends and bring them and glue them on the adjacent triangles. Personally, I think it helps at this part if you do one at a time. At least it helps me to do just one at a time. If you don't want to, you definitely don't have to do it that way. You can do all three. Just be prepared for it to not want to stick properly. So if you do more than one, if you do the one, you can kind of hold it while it sticks together. I've got that one. And it also helps to kind of just close that up as you get it together. Eventually we're going to stick that end inside there, but My suggestion at this point is just to kind of leave it to dry. Once it dries, take that edge out, put the glue on there, stick it in there, hold it tight for a little bit, and let that dry. I'm going to move that out of the background for a second here. So once that is dry, you have your completed Kaleidocycle. So to start off, you just want to slowly work it through a few times to get it used to following that motion, because it tends to want to like fold differently or pop out in a different way. And once you've got it going that way and it's going easily, turn it around. You can do it the other way. So see, it kind of popped out there. As you keep going, it gets more used to the motion, and then you're able to go faster and faster. So that's what it looks like from the top. This is going to be what it looks like from the side. And that is your completed Kaleidocycle. Do not worry, I have not forgotten that I promised you a second Kaleidocycle. So let's first take a look at the Kaleidocycle template that we originally used. And you'll notice that it's longer than it is higher. So to make a Kaleidocycle from a sheet of paper, just ordinary paper, we are going to need to cut the paper in a 2-to-1 ratio. So a 2-to-1 ratio, where the length is 2 times the height. Since this is a regular sheet of paper, it's 11 inches long, and I will show that to you. See, so there's my 0, there's my 11. So I'm going to do this the easy way. Half of 11 is 5.5. So I am going to make this paper 5.5 inches tall. I'm going to draw my line there. I'm going to cut on that line, and this is going to be the piece of paper I use, and voila! Already have one cut out. So to make this work, we're going to fold in half that way. So there's my first fold. Then we are going to fold both of these outer edges to the center line. And you want to be kind of precise on this. Next, we're going to fold in half this way. Then we're going to fold in half this way. So we're going to bring both of the outer edges to that central edge, that central crease. And you'll notice if you do this more than once, you'll notice that on more humid days, it's a little more difficult to do. So next I'm going to fold my outer edge to that line. And then I'm going to fold the outer edge to this last line over here. So I've got a series of 1, 2, 3, 4 folds. And let's see, they're a little more than 1.5 inches wide. So I want to replicate that on this side. So I'm going to do the same thing there. And then instead of taking it to that outer line, because I actually folded one more time, I'm going to fold to that line. And that's where we are right now. So we've got an 11-inch long piece of paper, and we have folds about every 1.5 inches. So if we compare it to the template, we've got rectangles. On here there are diamonds. So we need to make these into diamonds. And we're going to do that by using the ruler, and we're going to go in 1 and down 2 and fold. And maybe it's easier to just draw a couple lines here so you see what I am talking about. So I drew purple lines to show where all of those folds were. And now we're putting the diamond pattern on, and I said we're doing that over 1 and down 2. So we're going to go over one of those squares, and we're going to go down 2. Like that. So when I go out here, to go down 2 is going to bring me to this point, which is going to take me all the way down to there. And I'm going to go down here, down 2, so I'm there. Going down 2, so I'm here, down 1, 2, over 1. So that actually, the line will continue and we'll go to there. So we're just I'm gonna continue doing that the whole way down that way. Then I'm gonna go back and do it over 1, down 2, back that way. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to pause and make all of the diamonds up. So as you're doing this, when you're completed, you want all your lines parallel. And if you notice, I did something weird there. That line I actually did not line up properly. See, all my lines should be running in the same direction. So those are, but if I take that off, that one is not in the same direction as the rest of those. So it's a good thing I drew the lines, because now I can just ignore that line there and fold on that one instead. If that bothers you, if you do something like that and having that line there bothers you, you can white out over it. If you really want, you can start again. So we're going to put our diamond pattern on here. So we're doing the same thing we did on the last one. So it's just a matter of going over all those lines, putting the scoring on, and then working the paper to make it more pliable. So while I do mine, you do yours. If I come back too soon for you, you can just pause me. Now if you find the step with the paper clip to be too technical for you, you can just fold along the edge of your ruler. I honestly find that using the paper clip does really help the paper to manipulate better once I am trying to get the Kaleidocycle to work. And with this one especially, like the last one broke in pretty easily, this one I think is a little harder to get it to break in. And I actually folded on the wrong one there, so let's go back and fold on the right one. There we go. All right, just a few more to do. So after I finish on the side with the lines, I just go back through on the other side and fold it back the other way. Because with this one, having those lines already going and having those folds going in the right direction for you is just going to make the whole thing so much easier. So get your folds going and we'll come back and assemble our Kaleidocycle. Okay, I've got all the lines going, so we're gonna fold it around and look at it, and if one end is smaller than the other, and I think on this one, this end is a little smaller, we are going to slide that right inside of there, and so what it looks like now is just kind of a flat thing like that. And we're just going to take those upper portions. So it meets with the top with a horizontal line or with a diamond. And where there are the diamonds, we're going to fold those down. Fold those down. So you kind of have three medallion shaped things going on. See, three each side looks like that. So where the parts that stick out on those medallions are, you're going to push in and push in. There we are. And push in. And you end up with something that looks like this. And to get it going, you're going to want to go slowly at first and just push it through. And sometimes it pops open like that, and you can just practice manipulating it slowly to get it do what you need it to do. And sometimes it takes some practice, and you keep rotating it, and it gets to a point where it goes more easily. So that's what it looks like from the top and from the side. So with this one, there is an open fold, So occasionally that might pop open. You just have to work it slowly to get it back to how it was. And after you've practiced for a while and it's doing what you want, then you can pick up the speed. And now you have officially made 2 kaleidocycles. One with the template and one that we folded from a blank sheet of paper, which we cut in a 2-to-1 ratio. So we did 11 by 5.5 inches. You could do 12 inches by 6 inches. You could do 8 inches by 4 inches. So have fun making kaleidocycles, and we will see you again next time, and have a great summer. Thanks so much!